Hi, everybody. Two tarts on a journey. Hi, Liz. How are you?
I'm well, Margaret. Yourself?
Very well, thank you. And we're very, very excited to welcome Veronica Brereton to the mix today. You can be one of our tarts if you like.
Thank you. I've,
Yay.
I've I've been called worse things than a tart, so that's okay.
Oh, that's all right then. Ah, I know when my daughters heard that we were calling this two tarts on a journey, they had a fit. You can't call yourselves tart. Yeah, we can. We can call ourselves whatever we like. So it's gosh, we're well into the first quarter of 2025, and what a ride. Last week we spoke about how the energies are just seem to be crazy here. I know the weather's crazy, so it's just so hot here at the moment because we're just expecting this little cyclone off the coast. So
Yeah.
and I don't know what's happening, Liz, but you'll be able to enlighten us with your view of astrology.
Well, we've just come off the new moon in Pisces. We're heading into the eclipse season, as everyone knows. That's a bumpy ride. The energies are the highest they've been, I believe. The Schumann resonance off the Richter scale. I think I'm off the Richter scale. I think transformation and change is happening to everyone as I speak. I just watch the changes and what's going on, and everything is just like it's on steroids. So this ride, I thought last time we spoke and the one before, but every time we speak, it's just momentum
Yeah,
is
just getting that little bit crazier. On our last podcast, we had an amazing woman who you know, Veronica, Barbie Corthane, and
Oh, wow.
at
I
the
love Barbie.
I know she's amazing. You know, she's almost 80, and she is planning her. I can't remember how many times she's been to Nepal.
Yeah.
Visited Nepal with her aid that she brings to the villages over there. But you know, I think she's living proof that we seem to get as we get older and get over all of those hurdles of our middle years. We get into this zone that seems to be so I don't know, for me, it's precious because we can really focus after a life of devoting yourself to family, to work, and everything that we do as women. We get to a part of our life where we can just finally see ourselves and start to pursue, if we want to, start to pursue our dreams. And that's why we really wanted you on this podcast, Ree, because you are another amazing woman who has crossed both of our paths. We're very lucky. You're beauty and wellness coach, born in Australia, and that's what I was just thinking about you today, and I just thought at the age when so many of us are ready to, sit back, wrap up the busy part of our lives, and rest on our laurels a little bit. You decided to fulfill a lifelong dream, and now you are living. It still blows my mind. You're living
Me
in
too.
Valencia in Spain. So we would love to talk to you. We'd love to kind of like tease out how you got there. You've only been there for what, a year?
I know it's coming up for a year. Because it's my birthday, I'll be 71 on
Oh,
the 22nd of March. And I know I was sort of this whole thing about, okay, how am I going to spend this last part of my life, you know? And I remember watching a TED talk by Jane Fonda years ago, and you probably know it, and she called it the third act. And she was talking about how precious this time of your life is because it's so important. Now is a time when you can give back, you can make a contribution. It's about, you know, having the time and the space and the wisdom to actually, make this time of your life, not a time of your life where you just sort of, you know, hang up your boots or whatever, but actually a time that you can choose to do what you want to do. And so once the kids were sort of, you know, through uni and, you know, the whole story of being a single mum, and it's tough, and you know, so much of your life is constrained, you know, you're doing what you want to do as much as you can. But once the kids were sort of through uni and happy and settled, and they actually, you know, decided to go over and live and work in the UK. But kind of before then, I'd floated the idea with them anyway that I was gonna get out of Australia because I was like, I was kind of over it now. And it's, I think when I've lived overseas before in my life and really enjoyed it. And I've enjoyed the day to day, the fact that even when you go to the supermarket, it's an adventure. Or, you know, you walk down the street and it's an adventure. And it was like, and I loved Australia and I loved the Gold Coast. I loved my life there and my two little dogs. But what I realized was that it was, if I looked ahead 5 years, it was still going to be the same. It was very predictable. And already I was being plagued by these, or reminded of that fact by, you know, Facebook puts up your Facebook memories. Oh, here's me walking on the beach with her two dogs. And that was like 2 years ago. And I'm like, I know. And that's what it's going to be in 5 years as well. So what do I actually want to do? Because I've kind of done being here. So, and when I thought about what I really wanted to do, I really wanted to travel in Europe because I'd lived in Hong Kong for 10 years and loved that and done a lot of travel in Asia. And then there was the whole, you know, kid thing, and where you can't just head off where you want to head off. And so I was like, okay, so if I want to travel in Europe, I don't want to, you know, I can't do that from Australia because the flights are just far too long and blah, blah. So I better just go and live there. So, okay, so if I'm going to live there, where do I want to be? And I just had this feeling, and I think that all of us as we get older tune into our gut feelings more than, you know, our intuition, our guidance, whatever you call it. And it was like, okay, where do I want to be? And I thought, I think Spain. I've never been there and I've always wanted to go. So I'm going to go to Spain. And I was kind of reading about different places in Europe, and it seemed like, you know, the cost of living and the lifestyle and everything about it. And it was a big country. And I thought, that's cool. You know, I've been to Italy and France a little bit. And even though I love those countries, I can't wait to go back and do more travel there. They didn't call out to me to go and live there. So, and in the mix, I'd seen Liz traveling in South America. And so, you know, I just saw her and stumbled across her on Facebook, and so reached out to her, and I was like, what are you doing? How are you doing this? I want to, you know, I want to get out and travel as well and live somewhere else. So we started chatting. And so it was kind of nice, in fact, really nice and reassuring, and that whatever your stage of life, you just follow your dream, you know. And I still wake up every day and I'm walking along the streets here, or I look out my little balcony at my very European little plaza, and I'm so like, oh my God, I'm here. I'm actually here. I mean, it's still me, and I'm really lucky that my business is transferable, right? So I can do it wherever I am. So I know a lot of people don't have that flexibility, but also a lot of people, by the time they get to 70, probably retired and have got loads and loads of money. And so I'm not in that category, but I have created an income with my business that, is well and truly sufficient to live where I want to be. And so yeah, it's just kind of being brave, to step outside the box. And I think through having been, divorced, married and divorced 3 times, and, being the first one in my family to do a lot of bad things, or, different things anyway, that nobody else had, kind of done, and always looked at rules and life as being something to, rules are there to look at and to break, as long as they're not going to hurt somebody else, but you do what's in alignment for you. And so I think going through a lot of the stuff that, we all go through in our life just kind of makes you stronger, more resilient, more to trust in your own self as to, what you want to do and the lives that you want to impact. And so it's so nice, even over here, meeting people every day and, being able to help them and to help them feel more confident about choices that they want to make, or do braver things, be braver people, And it's like, come on, you can do that, blah, blah, blah. And so I think wherever you are, you're still that encourager or supporter or whatever you can be. But it's just so exciting being able to do it in a different place.
Well, you are the living example. So you've got every right to be able to go, yes, come on, you can do it. It's amazing. But you're talking about intuition. And I do recall you telling me, because, often we think, oh, I'd love to do that. Oh, there's a message coming saying that I need to be going to Valencia. So tell us about your confirmation that really kind of made you know that you were on the right track and that you were getting supported.
Oh my God. Okay, so there were so many messages. And I think that's the thing when you put out there and you sort of and you're looking for confirmation. So when I decided I want to live in Europe, I'm like, well, how the hell do I do that? I'm on an Australian passport, I mean, that's going to give me like 90 days if I'm lucky, or, that'll give me 90 days. And so I've got to look for a different way. And then I was thinking, okay, so my grandfather was Irish, so that's a way in. So I can apply for Irish citizenship and a passport. But then I saw that was going to take like 2 years or something to probably process because of COVID and Brexit. And I thought, well, God, I don't want to wait that long. And then when I saw Liz in South America, I thought, I'll just go there. I'll fill in time there, wait for the Irish thing to come through, and then I'll head over to Europe, because it really doesn't matter where I am. I just need to move. I didn't want to have another birthday. I didn't want to have my 70th in Australia. I thought, I'm out of here before then, because you kind of got to draw a line in the sand regardless, right? And so that was like, okay. So, and then Spain brought out a digital nomad visa at the end of 23, or, yeah, no, 22, because I was thinking about it, I think
22,
then,
I think.
22, and they brought it out in like December 22, and I thought, oh my God, I can do that. That's what I do. I work online and I can take it. So that's what I'll do. So I started that process of and it is a process of doing that application and starting to get ready. So I thought, I know, I checked through it. That's going to get me in there. And I just believed that it would. And but I still did the Irish application because I thought, well, I'll get that in the mix. And then, so I was going through that whole process of planning and the big thing was trying to find a family for my dogs. So there was so many things that sort of all came together. But every day I was, visualizing being there, about finding an amazing family for my dogs, about just having everything work out, because I know that that's the energy that you got to put out there, not sort of focusing on, oh shit, what if it doesn't work out? But the whole thing of it's worked out and it's amazing and I'm so excited. And, Macy and Bonnie are happy and they're in the best place possible and my kids are happy and blah, blah. And then so I was going through that, and then also out of the blue, I was actually on a business, training call stuff with my team, and my phone started going off, and I was like, oh my God, who wants me? And it was just sort of turned it on, put it on silent, and turned it over and ignored it. And then a couple of hours later, when I thought, okay, I better check out what was happening there. And I had messages from all these people saying, V, check out, Lona's thing on Facebook. And so I went on and I'm thinking, what? This is the lady from BNI, which is this business networking group I was in. And so I went to her Facebook and I'm like, and here's this thing of, there was going to be this convention in Madrid and they were putting names in a hat for people who'd qualified to go in the draw. And I didn't even realize that I'd qualified to go in the draw. That's how, I was just thinking, oh, that's happening, but it's nothing to do with me kind of thing. And then it was reading out my name, it was in there. And then lo and behold, it was like, and the winner is for 2 free tickets to go to Spain for this convention in November is Veronica Brereton. And I'm like, oh my God. Because people had been saying, so are you going to go and check Spain out first, before you actually move there? And I'm like, no, I can't afford to go there, check it out, come back. Why would I do that? I'm just going to go. And they're, well, what if it doesn't work out? It will work out. And if it doesn't, I'll go somewhere else. It doesn't matter. So, but then here I am. I got this massive, I'm just bursting into tears. I was like, I just cannot believe it. And so I was so lucky that, to win that. I mean, I think and I mean, you have been in on my journey the whole way because, through COVID, I was all sorts of stressing. I was going to your, magic vibrating bed and having you talk me through a lot of stuff and give me different perspectives. So you really helped me with my toolbox of making things happen. And if I did feel anxiety about things, to think about it in a different way. And then when Liz came back and, making time for us to meet up in person and sit and chat. And so it's about also gathering people around you, isn't it, who are going to support you in what you want to do, rather than everybody else who was like, oh my God, you're so brave. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I mean, if you want to do something, you just do it, right? And for me, the thought of staying put and just leading a life it would turn out boring and frustrating. And I would get to the end of my life with regrets and I'm like, I don't want to do that. So then I had the Spain trip. And then what was amazing was just out of the blue as well. So another sign, a girl in my gym class, I say a girl, we were all the healthy and active group. I think the average age was about 70. And anyway, I went and visited her in her over 60s sort of like home place, or not a home, where they have those over 60 resorts, but
retirement
average
village,
age.
yeah.
And she said, V, I'm sure there'll be somebody here who would love your dogs. I'll start asking around. And so then it was like about a week later, I had a phone call from this gorgeous lady, and she says, hey, it's Kath here. I've heard from Erica that you've got 2 little Westies that need a new home. I've had Westies for 20 years. They're getting old, in fact, one died last year and the other one hasn't got long. If you've still got them, I would love to have them and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. So I said, well, you better come over and meet them and meet me. And I thought I'd really check her out and see if she's good enough to have my dogs. But what turned out so well then was when she came over and she brought her friend, Greg, with her because they're not a couple, but they live close by. And they thought, well, either she could have both or he could have one and she could have one, whatever. And so it was just perfect. So, and one of my dogs, Macy, has always been a man dog. She's always loved men. And whenever I'd be at the beach, she would always be the one who see a guy coming, she would run up and just expect a pat and expect, to be greeted, etc. And so when Greg came in, it was just an immediate bond and amazing. And Kath, she's more sort of hyper and active, and she needed a little dog who was just going to be with her and follow her around and do all the stuff with her, and that was exactly Bonnie. And then I said, well, I'm actually going to Spain for 2 weeks in November. Maybe you could have a trial then, and you could see if it was going to work out. So it was just like everything that happened, everything started falling into place, because that was my biggest heartache and challenge was always going to be giving up the dogs. But to know that they, and then, when I went to pick them up when I got back from Spain, they were so happy and, so loved already. I felt guilty taking them back, but anyway. So there were so many signs. And then when I came to the convention in Madrid, I just sort of booked, because then that meant that paid for that whole trip. And I could just extend it for a couple of days to come down to Valencia to see that what I thought, because of course I'd never been here. I didn't know anything about it. So, and as soon as I stepped off the train in Valencia, it was like, oh, the energy, it's a beautiful place. And I just thought, this is where I'm meant to be, So I'm just got so used to now trusting that the universe has got my back, universe, God, whatever. There's that higher power that totally, has our back and looks after us and makes sure that as long as we're tuned in and listening and that we know what we want, that I really believe that if we put it out there and they know what we want, then they'll just kind of make it happen, So, and honestly, I love every day that I'm here. It's like even like yesterday, this week's kind of cold and rainy, which for Valencia isn't, normal. So I was all rugged up, but going to meet a lady she's a German lady that I'd met in December, and she was back here and she messaged me all in Spanish. So, like my Spanish is still pretty shit, but I will, I'm kind of gradually getting better with it. So and then I was trying to remember who she was. And then, but, we arranged to go and meet in this little wine bar, and like these little bars are very simple and, but are really, you don't ask for a different kind of wine. You just have, your vino tinto or your vino, Blanco, whatever. And it's one sort but it's always delicious. And it's like €2 or €3. And so we sat there the whole night chatting about so many things. And when she walked in, she wasn't even the lady I thought it was going to be. I looked at her and she recognized me, obviously. And I was like, oh my God, it's you. But it's like I'm meeting so many interesting people. She's a doctor and her husband's a little bit younger and he's still got to work for a few more years, but she wants to do some solo traveling, but she's never been on Facebook. So I was helping her get onto it and then linking her into some solo women travelers group so she could start to, So it's like women helping women. And there's so many people, so many amazing women who are, in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. Yeah. And like here's Barbie talking about coming to do the Camino next year for her 80th. And so, I'm so looking forward to that. But yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, questions there. I was going to ask. Sorry, Dom.
No, I'm just going to be quiet because otherwise I'll babble on forever,
No, you can. I was intrigued because so many people, and I know that I went through and you went through moments of fear, and I know you did answer that question with tools from Margaret and you know, how important it seems to be, just talking then of community and having people that pull you up, bring you up,
Yeah.
not pull you down and have doubts. So what other I know that you were going through some fear and you were, you know, chatting about that. So how else did you dig deep to sort of move through that initial fear to actually go, I can do this? I know you were talking about, yeah, I can do it, but there's always that monkey mind. What was it that was able to take you away from that monkey mind with all the things that you were talking about that was to able to assist you to get to where to go through with it? Was
Yeah,
there
well,
anything in particular?
I think it's also looking back at times in my life when I was scared, and whether it was in relationships or with money or with around the kids or stuff like that. But it was always like you can always just reframe it. It's like I think I learned very early on that on the other side, fear and excitement are just different sides of the same coin. One is expecting a positive outcome and the other's expecting a negative outcome. So if you're fearful, it's because it's not real, and it's only because you're letting yourself be drawn into the what if, and going down there. And you wouldn't do it, that will paralyze you. And so knowing that, it was like, okay, don't even go there. Just pull the curtain down on that and only look forward and only focus on the good stuff. Because if you focus on the good stuff and you believe in it and you do that visualization, the visualization, I can't, that is just the best thing ever. And I had Barbie come and feng shui my office. So I had, and I had on a wall, my future wall, this was my Europe poster, and I had my little money corner, and I had my this and that. And I don't know anything too much about that, but she does. And so it was like, she knew that it was going to work out. And I had my little, my lucky bracelet thing. And so I had everything. I was just gathering things that would support me and remind me that to stay, building the picture and the vision of how I wanted my life to be.
Yeah.
And the fact that if it didn't work out, well, you deal with that then. And so you can't project that forward. And so, and I mean, looking at what you had done was major as well. And I'm like, so talking to you was, I think, that's one of the most important things, having, like you say, having the people, seeking out people, like-minded people. So you're always, and the majority of the population are not like-minded, and they don't want to do brave stuff. But there are a lot of brave women out there, and for me, they're the exciting ones. I'm not a great homemaker. I'm not. And the thought of going to Bunnings every freaking weekend and, buying stuff and doing stuff in the garden, that's my worst nightmare, honest, horrible. So, and so I didn't want that life, but I appreciate that for a lot of people, they do want that life, and they do want to sit and watch Netflix and just have a nice, bottle of wine with their partner and do that. Well, I didn't have a partner, and I always regarded, I've never been able to sit still and watch movies and stuff because I always thought I was wasting time. I could be doing something productive, So, so I had to get over the kind of the wasting time thing, but I would still like, okay, if I've got time, I'm going to do that to build me up and to do something to set me up for the future that, and then, and just making sure that I was catching up with good people for coffee and doing my walks on the beach, with Barbie and with Suzanne and with different people who have had lives that haven't been easy, but they've come through, they've always looked to the positive and recreated themselves so many times. And I look at my life and think, oh my God, I've recreated myself so many times, why not do it again, So.
And it seems like that's because I follow you, I stalk you on Facebook. It seems like that's what you're doing every day. It's like I have a look, and you're either in a gorgeous little, as you say, a simple little bar having a wine, or you're traveling to somewhere in Europe, or just amazing. So what I love,
yeah.
what I love is that as we are expanding ourselves to be brave and do brave things, then we're expanding our lives as well. We're expanding our future.
It's so
It's great.
amazing. And
Yeah.
being just being a citizen, being in Europe, it's like just opening up my world because people here speak 3 or 4 languages. And here am I, stumbling along with trying to say hola and, gracias and stuff like that. But I'm still so bad. But anyway, but yeah, like last summer, I didn't have a plan to do stuff, but the kids, as it all unfolded, Zoe came over and then we were invited to go up to France to stay with somebody. Then Suzanne was going to Sweden and I wanted to catch up with her. So I was like, she said, well, have you ever been here? I'm like, no. So I thought, okay, I'll come up and, we can get together there. And then on the way back, I thought, well, I went to Barcelona because I hadn't been there. So it's like you just start doing all this stuff. And now again, I hadn't planned stuff particularly here. Although both the girls being in the UK, that's been magic, honest. Being close, and people have said, oh, so you kind of followed the kids over, and I'm like, no, I didn't. This was my plan for me, and it's a bonus. It's a beautiful bonus that they are there, but I don't know how long they're going to be there or what direction their lives are going to take them. I can't. So I'm, and I don't want to be that person just kind of following people around. So so they could both come here for Christmas and New Year's. I had them for 2 weeks here, and the sun shines here usually, and whereas it doesn't very often in the UK. So it's really nice to be somewhere that actually want to come. And so that's great. And so this year, I'm going to an Eric Clapton concert in London. Oh my God, I love that guy, and I heard it, and I thought. I messaged the kids and I said, guess what? Eric Clapton's doing a concert in London. And they just said, Mum, we've got to go. So they just kind of booked it. So and then I'm going down to a New Skin convention. I'm flying from London down to Marbella for a New Skin convention for a couple of days. So that's in May. And then another girlfriend phoned just the other day, and Karen Poulos, and she's Greek, and she's coming over to Europe because she does a lot of travel in Greece and Europe. And she said, V, do you want to join me at the end of August for a couple of weeks? I'm going to go to Kythera, which is her favorite Greek island, and then to the Peloponnese to, do some stuff. And I was like, okay, sounds amazing. So to be able to say yes and that's the thing, to just be able to say yes to so many things that if I was in Australia, I'd be watching from afar because we're so far away from everything. And if you want to travel, it's not the place to be in terms of easy, quick. And that's the other thing, doing those long flights, they're a killer. Literally, if ever I'm going to get sick, it's off a long flight. So I knew I didn't want to do that. But anyway, so my world is kind of opening up. And chatting to Sabina last night, she was talking about Europe and being a European citizen. And I was saying, well, talking about the problems that Germany's having right now and saying, well, why don't Germans do this and this? And she said, no, because we're part of Europe. We don't have that freedom to just think about a single country. It's this, and I was like, so I'm learning all about so many things. It's just different being here. And so, yes, I'm in a hiking group. And so I'm doing these incredible hikes and getting out the countryside and going to these little villages and scrabbling up and down slopes, on my bum because I don't want to slip over, so I sort of figured going down a mountain, if I sit down and slide, well, it's going to get me there and, without falling. But it's just kind of, it really is making life fun and having adventures. And yes, I'm still working, so I do work and I do need to do my exercise and I do need to, go to the supermarket or the market or, so you're doing your normal daily stuff, but you're just doing it in a different place. So
Doing it
it's not that hard.
round things that you love.
Yeah.
They're just,
Yeah. And
they're just things that get you through the day, aren't they?
yeah. So I just think, God, what are you waiting for? Just do it, like all of us are, you never know when you're going to be called to leave.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, while you're here, you may as well do the fun stuff and the stuff that you've been, that you want to do. And then when it's time to go, okay, that's fine because no regrets,
No
I don't want
regrets.
regrets.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow.
And you've really backed on what our conversations have been about so many in the last few weeks about synchronicities. And you've summed it up perfectly for anybody that's been following us with that, because the synchronicities happen when you're in alignment and your mind, thoughts, and actions are positive and you're visualizing, and the synchronicities are there. So you've just beautifully summed up what we've talked about previously about synchronicities and how they just show up when they're ready. They're not going to pass you by if you're in that state of receiving. So well done on that.
You're ready with the
Yeah,
butterfly net. I love that.
just kind of asking for signs, and
Yeah.
just show me that I'm on the right track. And before you know it, something will happen. And you ask for something, and then it might come in a form that, you didn't really expect, but it's like, oh my God, that's what I wanted. And look, now I've got it. It's like, I'm always just saying, thank you, God, thank you, God, thank you, God. Thank you for looking after me. And,
Yeah.
I was a bit scared about that, but oh my God, this is amazing. So I think it's also just living in that feeling of gratitude, isn't it, for what you have.
Yeah.
And gratitude gets rid of the fear as well, and it's knowing that, you know, every day, it's like every day, I know that you're there with me and you're guiding me and you're bringing people to me that
Yeah.
that are the people that I need in my life. And yeah, so it's doing the actions that and being brave and doing stuff that you kind of know that you need to do, but also trusting that you're not on your own. You've got somebody who's
Yeah.
just they've got this big plan for you that you don't even know about, and we kind of think that we're doing it. And then you think, oh my God, you had it sorted all the time,
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Creating the reality that you want to live in by trusting. And it's just beautiful to see you on the other side glowing and just hearing your journey and just the enjoyment. I just want to be there with you.
Yeah, so when are you coming? When are you guys coming?
Every time I see something that you're doing or done, it's like, I want to be there too. You're amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, don't
So
rule it out. I've started retreats. We're doing them all around the world. We'll be there.
Cool.
and I'll come too.
I just found out, that there's this really nice yoga venue just outside Valencia. I haven't even checked it out, but I just thought, oh my God, I am so going to check that out.
So check it out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Lots of possibilities. And what I also love is that I am getting now, what people say is that your friendships don't, it's not like you're leaving people behind because we can do this. And I'm doing lots of video calls with, my family, but also with my friends and my customers and my team, just sort of, and when you see how easy it is and how close it makes you feel, then but also then I remember reading something about when you're like, a global citizen or whatever they like to call it. It's like you actually end up spending such quality time with people when they do come to visit you. So I've got my sister coming in October, but I mean, just in this month, I've got a couple of the girlfriends from the UK coming over for 3 days, and we had our babies together as older mums, and so here we are now, sort of 70s, our kids. And what's funny is that our kids are still really good friends, and they're going to be catching up on Saturday in London, and we're going to be all here together in London, in Valencia. And I'm like, how does that happen? I mean, even the synchronicity of
The net's still there.
yeah, so close, so close. And then I've got another girl who is actually, on the Gold Coast, and she's said, V, she was going to Turkey for some stuff, and she said, so I'm going to come and see you. I said, okay, so you can come after the 20th because I've kind of got visitors up until then because we've got fires happening here, and so she's going to come then, and it's like, and she said, and I think I want to do what you're doing because I'm going to be studying and I'm going to need some extra money coming in. So I want you to show me what you do so that I've got more flexibility around that. I'm like, okay, if you're going to be here, I can totally show you. So,
it's a true meaning of flow, isn't it? Because every aspect of your life gets drawn in to this beautiful vortex to support you.
It is. It's amazing, isn't it? And it's like I often listen to, Abraham Hicks, and she sort of says, that everything is in your vortex, and it's just like it's already there. You've already got it. It's just waiting for you to kind of, be vibrating on the right level to actually get it in your hot little hands or whatever it is. It's all in the vortex. I love the idea of the vortex. I just keep putting stuff in there.
Oh. It's extraordinary, isn't it? Well, we've gone over time. It's been
I'm sorry.
No. I could just keep on listening to you. You're amazing. Thank you so much. I hope that we can tee another one up along, through the year, perhaps, and catch up with what you're doing, your next adventures. But
I know. Well, it's we've just got to think of me. Life is an adventure. And as soon as you have that belief that then you can start planning even more. And so I keep, I've got so many things I want to do that, I've got to live till I'm over 100 because otherwise I'll never get them done. So I've got to stay healthy and fit and everything. And then there's just like, oh my God, now imagine, my life in 5 years' time, already thinking about that and what I'm going to be doing and who, where I'm going to be going and blah, blah, blah. So I think that just because you hit a certain age doesn't mean you stop dreaming and planning and doing.
Absolutely.
In fact, that's kind of, we've got so much more freedom to do that as long as we're looking after us and we've got our health, because, and that's often what women lose as they, devote themselves to their kids through all of that time. They just get so exhausted and run down. So it's such a good time to just think, okay, so now it's about me and nourishing me and spending time thinking, what are my dreams? Well, who am I now? Or who do I want to become? And at every stage, we've got that choice to become somebody slightly better, slightly different, slightly whoever we want to become.
Yeah.
So we can do other stuff.
Absolutely. So we'll put your details, if you don't mind. We'll put your details when we showcase this beautiful podcast. We'll put your details just in case people want to get in touch with you, which I'm sure they will, because your life is an inspiration.
Anyway, thank you for being so big a part of my journey, you two. That's what's been so wonderful for me. You've been there for me, right from the beginning as I was starting to kind of pull it all together, how I wanted it to be, and being able to reach out to both of you when I was having those, and it's been amazing. So cool.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that just being able to witness. To me, it's just being able to witness what you've done. It's amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
And I really miss our coffee and those beautiful carrot muffins at Churn Park.
I know. I know. I do often think of you when I'm toddling and I'm in the gym and I'm waiting to see your little body running past. But we'll see each other again. Anyway, look, I'm going to stop the recording now.
Yeah.
And thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
It has
Thank
been
you.
an absolute pleasure, hasn't it, Liz? Liz, sorry.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. Lovely to
Okay.
see you again.
Yeah, so we'll talk again soon, right?
We will. Bye.
Not necessarily on the podcast. We need to do calls.
Absolutely. Yes.